Pause here, chosen one. Do not move. Do not scroll. Do not let your attention drift toward another sound, another vibration, another glowing distraction begging for your focus. What you are encountering right now is not coincidence, and it is not optional. This is not a gentle nudge. This is not a suggestion whispered softly into your awareness. This is a summons. A directive issued from beyond the veil, authorized in the courts of heaven, released with precision for this exact moment. And what will unfold in the next few minutes will do one of two things. It will dismantle the false version of yourself you have been carrying, or it will allow that false version to harden into something permanent. This is not inspiration. This is not encouragement. This is not content. This is exposure. A mirror is being raised in front of your spirit, not to shame you, not to accuse you, but to show you the truth that has been hidden beneath layers of survival, disappointment, and misinterpretation. What you recognize in this mirror will decide whether you step into freedom or continue living inside an identity that was never yours to begin with. Out of millions of people scrolling today, millions consuming noise, distraction, and emptiness, only a microscopic number were marked for this revelation at this exact second. Many felt the pull and ignored it. Some hesitated and moved on. Others told themselves, "This isn't for me." You did not. You are still here. That alone tells you something important about who you are, even if you don't understand it yet. For nearly a month now, there has been movement around you that you could not explain. Interruptions in your sleep. Moments when your eyes snapped open at strange hours, 1:11, 2:22, 3:33, as if something was calling your name without sound. Numbers repeating in places they shouldn't. A subtle pressure in your chest. A restlessness in your spirit. A quiet but persistent sense that something was about to change, even though you couldn't say what. You explained it away. You blamed stress. You blamed exhaustion. You blamed your thoughts. But it was none of those. It was preparation. Heaven does not interrupt without purpose. Heaven does not alert without intention. What you felt was a signal, an internal alarm, calibrated specifically for you. Because starting very soon, a chain of moments will begin unfolding that will either awaken you to who you truly are, or lock you deeper into a version of yourself that was constructed by pain, fear, and accusation. What happens next depends on what you choose now. This is why action matters. Not later. Not when it feels emotional. Not when it feels convenient. Right now. When you respond, when you engage, you are not interacting with a video or a message. You are aligning yourself with a process already in motion. You are signaling readiness. You are consenting to clarity. You are allowing the veil to be lifted. The moment that signal is given, something begins to shift beyond what your eyes can see. Long-standing distortions start dissolving. Images that have been warped by trauma, failure, and disappointment begin to correct themselves. The reflection you've been living with starts to change. Because I have seen you. Not the version you show others. Not the version that performs strength. Not the version that knows how to smile and keep moving. I have seen the one who appears late at night when everything goes quiet. The one who stands in front of the mirror when no one is watching. The one who studies their own face and barely recognizes it. The one who traces familiar features but feels disconnected from the person staring back. I have heard the questions you never say out loud. When did I become this? How did I get here? Where did the real me go? You think you've concealed the cracks well. You believe the composure you wear has fooled everyone. But nothing about you is hidden here. Every layer, every wound, every unspoken surrender. And there is something you must understand, something that will disrupt everything you believe about yourself. The reflection you've been living with is not accurate. The identity you've been carrying is not authentic. The story you've accepted as truth was never authored by me. There was a moment, not long ago, when something inside you fractured. It wasn't dramatic. It didn't announce itself. There were no witnesses. But a decision was made quietly in the depths of your heart. To stop expecting change, to stop hoping for more, to stop believing that things could be different. You didn't say it out loud. You didn't write it down. You barely admitted it to yourself. But you agreed with it. That agreement mattered. Because when you accepted that resignation, a distortion formed. A subtle fracture appeared in the way you see yourself. And through that fracture, false narratives began to speak. Lies dressed as logic. Accusations disguised as realism. Conclusions shaped by pain instead of truth. Since then, you've been looking at yourself through damaged glass. That's why you feel disconnected. That's why life feels like something you're observing instead of inhabiting. That's why you feel unfamiliar to yourself. It wasn't just fatigue. It wasn't just burnout. It wasn't just sadness. It was identity interference. An unauthorized story trying to overwrite the original. And understand this clearly, the resistance you've felt around clarity is not random. Darkness does not fight what is insignificant. Confusion is not applied to the powerless. The effort invested in distorting your self-perception is evidence of the authority attached to your true identity. The enemy attacks who you are because of what happens when you remember. When you see clearly, systems collapse. When you recognize yourself, influence activates. When the mirror is restored, lies lose jurisdiction. That is why your past has been weaponized against you. That is why mistakes have been framed as definitions. That is why voices, external and internal, have tried to convince you that damage disqualifies you. They don't want you to know this. Restoration has already begun. Even now, the process is active. Distortions are being removed. Accusations are losing clarity. The image is being polished back to truth. And very soon, sooner than you expect, you will look at yourself and feel recognition instead of distance. Light will return to your eyes. Familiarity will return to your face. Presence will return to your spirit. And as this unfolds, pay close attention, because there is something specific you have been experiencing that confirms this message was meant for you. 4 weeks now, you've caught glimpses of yourself unexpectedly, in reflections you weren't prepared for. A window, a dark phone screen, a mirror you passed without thinking. And for a brief moment, something felt off. Not because of appearance, but because the person looking back felt unfamiliar. That confusion was not physical. It was spiritual. Your inner self has been trying to tell you that the role you've been living does not match the design you were created for. That there is a gap between who you've been pretending to be and who you actually are. Between the identity shaped by survival and the identity shaped by purpose. And there are two specific influences contributing to that distortion. You already know who they are. One keeps you tethered to who you used to be, constantly revisiting failures, reminding you of moments you've outgrown. The other subtly diminishes you, projecting their own insecurity while disguising it as concern. They are not villains. They are not evil. But they are distorted mirrors. And you cannot discover your true reflection while looking through broken glass. Distance is required, not out of bitterness but out of wisdom. Not as punishment but as protection. Some people are not meant to reflect you forward. They are meant to remain behind you. For a short time, you will feel an internal resistance when these influences try to re-enter your space. That resistance is not cruelty. It is clarity being guarded. Honor it, because as you step back from distortion, something new is already being positioned. Within days, not months, someone will enter your orbit who reflects truth instead of trauma. Someone who sees what has been buried. Someone who recognizes what you forgot. This connection will not feel forced. It will feel aligned. And when it happens, you will understand why everything before had to shift. This is only the beginning. This encounter will not arrive the way you expect it to. It will not come with an announcement. It will not wear a label. It will not interrupt your day with thunder or spectacle. It may unfold in a cafe you rarely choose, one you almost skipped without noticing. It may surface during a professional gathering where your mind was elsewhere. It could begin with a casual comment online that unexpectedly deepens into a real conversation. It might even happen through a friend who suddenly feels compelled to introduce you to someone without knowing why. But make no mistake, none of these moments are accidental. Every significant connection is scheduled long before it appears. There are unseen hands coordinating timing, location, and proximity. What looks spontaneous to you has already been arranged in realms beyond your sight. You will know this person is different because of how you feel when you are near them. Your shoulders will relax. Your thoughts will quiet. Your spirit will exhale. You will not feel the urge to impress. You will not feel the pressure to edit yourself. Words will come easily without calculation or defense. You will hear yourself sharing things you usually keep locked away. And without trying, they will begin speaking truths about you that you had forgotten or stopped believing. They will name strengths you assumed had faded. They will point out qualities you thought were no longer visible. They will reference dreams you quietly buried and assumed were gone forever. And what you will feel in that moment is clarity. That clarity is your confirmation. That is the sensation of being near someone who reflects truth instead of distortion. Someone who mirrors who you actually are, not who pain convinced you to become. During your first meaningful exchange, something they say will dislodge a mental barrier you believed was permanent. A door you thought was sealed will open. A memory will resurface. A possibility will reawaken. A gift you dismissed will feel alive again. This is not flattery. This is not coincidence. This is prophetic alignment. They are reflecting back the image I have been trying to restore in you all along. Now respond immediately. Right now, not later, not after reflection, not when it feels convenient. Share this message with 2 specific people. You already know who they are. The first is someone walking through the same internal confusion you recently endured. They are questioning who they are, doubting their worth, struggling to recognize themselves. They need this mirror held up to their spirit the way it was held up to yours. The second is someone who has consistently seen the real you, even when you couldn't see yourself. They have reflected truth when others projected insecurity. They have affirmed you when you felt invisible. Send this to them as acknowledgement, as gratitude, as confirmation. Do it now. Your obedience does more than help them, it accelerates what is unfolding in you. Now listen carefully because there is another weight you have been carrying that must be addressed. The pressure surrounding your finances has been quietly crushing your sense of worth. You have been looking at numbers and letting them speak louder than truth. You have allowed your bank balance to narrate your value. You have stood in front of the mirror and interpreted struggle as failure. But hear this clearly. Your worth has never been tied to your income. Your identity has never been linked to your resources. You are not your paycheck. You are not your debt. You are not your possessions, or the lack of them. Provision does not define you. It follows you. And within the next season, measured, intentional, and specific, you are going to receive a substantial financial release. Not symbolically, not metaphorically, tangibly. It will arrive through channels you cannot currently identify, in ways you would not anticipate, from sources you did not plan for. It may come through opportunity, reimbursement, settlement, recovery, return, or favor. This provision is not proof of your worth. It is evidence of care. It is not a reward for perfection. It is an expression of relationship. And because declarations matter, you must speak this with your own voice, audibly, even if it feels uncomfortable. Say it clearly. I receive the provision that has been prepared for me. I reject every lie that ties my value to money. I release every belief that measures me by numbers. My worth is rooted in who I am, not what I have. This season of pressure is ending and a season of provision is beginning. Your words carry authority when spoken in alignment. Now, before this month concludes, there are 3 intentional actions you must take. First, within the next 48 hours, give something financially. It does not have to be large, but it must be intentional. You will feel a clear nudge about where and how. Do not overthink it. Do not delay it. What you plant now sets the timing for what returns later. Second, within the next 9 days, you must forgive someone you have avoided forgiving. That someone is you. There is a moment you replay, a decision you regret, a version of yourself you secretly condemn. You have been using it as justification to stay small, to stay hidden, to stay disconnected. Look at yourself and speak forgiveness aloud. I forgive myself. My mistake does not define me. My past does not imprison me. I release shame and I reclaim truth. Self-forgiveness unlocks restoration faster than anything else. Third, within the next 25 days, do something that the earlier version of you loved. Something you stopped doing when life hardened you. Something creative, expressive, courageous, or honest. This is not nostalgia. This is reclamation. Now hear this clearly. Tomorrow is not an ordinary day. Tomorrow carries reflection. Between late morning and mid-afternoon, you will have a moment, subtle but powerful, where truth breaks through distortion. It may come through a reflection, a comment, a memory, a song, or a sudden recognition. Pay attention, because distraction will attempt to interfere. Urgency may arise. Drama may appear. Chaos may knock. Pause and discern. Ask yourself, is this truly urgent, or is it interruption? Choose clarity. As this journey continues, stay connected to messages that reinforce truth. Alignment requires reinforcement. Clarity grows with consistency. And finally, look ahead. If you commit to this restoration, in 1 month, people will notice a shift they cannot explain. In 2 months, opportunities aligned with your real gifts will surface. In 3 months, relationships will recalibrate around authenticity. In 6 months, you will barely recognize the person you once were. In 9 months, confidence will replace hesitation. In 12 months, you will look in the mirror and recognize yourself fully. But it begins now. Declare it. Say it. Type it. Agree with it. I choose to see truth. You are not watching by accident. You are not here randomly. You are not forgotten. Your reflection is clearing. Your identity is returning. The real you is emerging again. Walk forward knowing who you are. Look into every mirror without fear. Live as yourself, not as survival taught you to be. It is complete. It is restored. Receive it.